and I'm going to step back and listen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I appreciate you guys all taking the time to, show up and learn more about the program. Um, this is it's a real opportunity to, build some recurring revenue, some residual income. And once we get over those initial hurdles with the prospects and turn them into clients, it's pretty seamless from there. It's kind of a set and forget once we have them onboarded. Um, and yeah, I understand, as Mo was saying, it's important that we all have a good understanding of the program. I find that that's one of the biggest hurdles with prospects is it is a little bit, it's quite a bit to wrap your head around. And so, a lot of, on a 30-minute call, a lot of prospects, still need time to process and understand. So the better that you guys understand the program, the better that you'll be able to explain it to them. So with that, let me share my screen. And let's see. Okay. So can you guys actually let me this. Okay, so this kind of shows all the different elements of the paycheck to break it down to show you how we're able to create those savings. Okay. So for each plan, there is a premium. That covers the cost of the program, that covers the cost of any insurance or other products that they might take advantage of. Okay. And the IRS, because they want to, remember, they want to incentivize people to be more proactive with their health, they want to increase access to health care because they believe that those things, if people are more healthy, they'll be more productive. And if people are more healthy and addressing issues early on, before they become big issues, they believe that that'll reduce the nation's healthcare costs, the cost on the individual, and just the burden on the healthcare system. I'm sure we all know that, today it's a lot longer to get that doctor's appointment, and you might have to wait in the waiting room a little bit longer. And there's, a lot less time you have with the doctor. That's because, there's a lot more of a burden on the healthcare system now. So this is part of the effort to, make it so that it's a little bit easier to access healthcare. Okay. And so because of that, the government allows employers to exclude those certain healthcare costs from their gross income. So what we're looking at here is, three columns: the before, the after, and what the difference is. So before, without a SIMR program, um, they will have their $1,200 gross income, and this is just a hypothetical example. But because they don't have the SIMR program, there's no pre-tax deduction there, so their taxable income is still going to be 1,200. Okay, and that means that they're going to have FICA, a certain amount of FICA taxes. In this example, it's about $200. Okay, and so their take-home pay, they don't really have any savings there. They're paying all their costs, their full taxes based on their gross income. But with the SIMR program, they still have their top line. They've still earned the $1,200, but they're able to exclude their premium costs, which in this example is the $553.85. What that means is the taxes are going to be based on a much lower number. So instead of being based on $1,200, they're only paying taxes on the 646. Okay. So that creates, a savings of, what is the savings in this example? It creates a savings of about $130. Okay. And those savings will be used to help to pay towards the cost of the program. Because remember, it's still no net cost. All the costs for the programs and the benefits that they're getting are paid for with their tax savings. Okay. So, so that allows us to, we're seeing difference of instead of federal, a $60 savings in federal tax, a $35 savings in Social Security, Medicare, state ID, SDI, all of those tax withholdings are significantly reduced by about $130. And this is just a biweekly paycheck example. Okay. But their overall costs for the program are already paid for. So what that means is their take-home pay is increased by $38 because whatever isn't used to pay for the benefits, they get to keep in their paycheck. So they get a little bit of an extra savings there. Okay. So this is the employee's paycheck and what it looks like for them. And this employee makes about 31,000 a month, a year. Okay. Let's look at the employer side. Okay. So again, you're going to have a pre-tax premium that's deducted from the gross pay. Okay. And you're going to have those payroll tax savings. In this example, their monthly savings are about $91 overall. There is an administrative cost to the employer of about $40. Okay. But what that means is each month, the employer is saving about $51.81. Okay. And over the year, that's how we get to our 620. Okay. Times 12. So if we remember, both the employer and the employee are paying FICA tax. Okay. So the employer and the employee, they split that. When you're a W-2 employee, you split those taxes with the employer. So the employee has tax savings. Those are going to help to pay the majority of the cost for the employee. So they'll get a slight increase, but they're paying most of the cost. And the incentive for the employer is that they're only paying a small administrative fee, but they're getting to keep the majority of the savings. And so for the employer, the main benefit is those savings, in addition to, increased employee happiness and production. And then for the employee, it's their benefits. It's the wellness app. It's the insurance benefits that they might qualify for and their increase in take-home pay. Okay. If we look at another example, we'll see. So this is what their paycheck may look like. They'll see a pre-tax deduction, and they'll also see on their paycheck a reimbursement for an equal amount. So we're seeing $500 on each side. Okay. And then they're going to have a post-tax cost. This is their program costs. Okay. But these costs are paid for with the payroll tax savings. Okay. So they're still seeing an increase of about $38 in take-home pay. So you'll see $29.22, and here you see $29.57. Okay. So that's where those savings are calculated. Okay. And that's where we're getting these numbers. So remember, the gross payroll deduction, that's when we take out the premium costs here. Okay. So our premium costs, instead of paying taxes on $2,600, they're paying taxes on $1,400 because they're subtracting the premium, the $1,200 premium. Okay. What that means is they're going to have a lower gross payroll tax deduction. For many employers, especially those who are in blue collar work, they often have, so if you think of factories, contractors, those kinds of things, they have to carry workers' compensation insurance. So if their employees get hurt, then, that insurance helps to cover those costs that the employee, is owed because of their injuries. Okay. So if you're in blue collar work, like, construction or like a factory, which can be a little bit more dangerous than, say, a white collar job where you're sitting at a desk all day. These costs, the reduced payroll deduction, the reduced gross payroll tax deduction, that actually reduces your workers' comp costs because those costs are paid for, those premiums are based on your gross payroll. So if you reduce your payroll significantly, then your workers' comp is also going to be reduced significantly. So that's additional savings on top of the payroll tax relief of about $600 each. Okay. So the more employees they have, the more substantial those savings can be. But if you can imagine, for an employer with 50 employees, $30,000 is quite a bit of money to get extra. Okay. The same if you have 25 employees or 20 employees, you're talking about $10,000 to $15,000. That's substantial at the end of the day. That helps them pay their extra costs and everything else. Okay. Um, and then, of course, there's the employee benefits, which are a benefit to the employee as well. Obviously, those are costs, for urgent care, for primary care. Those are costs that they are, not going to have to pay. So, in addition to getting their addition to their paycheck, in addition to getting the slight pay increase, they're also not going to be paying costs. So, instead of, if they, tweak their back and they need to go to urgent care, instead of having to go and pay $100 or $150 at urgent care, they can just do it on their wellness app. So that's additional savings for them. So this is savings across the board for everybody. It's a win-win-win. Okay. The employers win, the employees win, and then we also win for helping them get enrolled in this. Okay. So I know that was a lot, and I know I tend to talk fast. So, I mean, does anybody have any questions at this point?
Yeah, I do. Eric, on the paycheck. So when we're talking with a client, where does it say whether on their on the I guess on the pay stubs, where does it say that they're enrolled in the SMRF? Like if they were enrolled, like we can look at it and it would let us know, right? Because it would just say, would it just say it on here somewhere?
Right. So I mean, well, in here we call it the wellness pre-tax. So what if they are enrolled in a SMRF, they would be able to look at their paycheck and they'll see a pre-tax deduction and an equal reimbursement. Okay, so they'll be able to see that. This will be on their paycheck. If they don't have a program like the SMRF, if they don't have the SMRF, they will not have these line items.
Got it.
So it may not use the term SMRF. Different programs use different names, but they will have these equal costs on each side.
Got it.
Do we have any other questions?
I got one more question for you. This came up yesterday. Because we got to do an appointment on the 7th. I'll let you know about that. But the question that the clients asked was, what happens if employees quit?
So if an employee quits or is fired, or if they have new employees, they simply need to let us know, and we'll go in and we'll make the necessary adjustments.
Good.
So if they let us know that an employee has quit, we can go in, we'll make that adjustment, and that employee will take it off the program, and they won't be charged for that employee.
Got it. All right. Go ahead. I'm good. Thank you for that.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay.
Yes, Eric, I have a question. This is Deborah.
Sure.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. Question. Is this compatible with payroll systems that they use, like ADP or something like that?
Yes, it's compatible with every payroll system that they use. So if they are using a self-serve one like a QuickBooks or Paychex or something like that, they can just give us access to it. And we'll go in and we'll make those adjustments that need to be made. If they are working with a payroll company like ADP or one of those other ones, we can work with their team to with their person to either get access or to have them make those adjustments themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I mean, that's where, where the numbers are, in terms of, how we calculate those savings, how we calculate the benefits and the gross payroll tax deduction. It's all about the, really the pre-tax deduction creates those savings. Okay. And so, it is a lot, I think, a lot of employers or prospects, when you're talking to them, I think it seems, once they kind of understand it, it seems a little simple. And so they're kind of thinking to themselves, well, maybe I'm not understanding this because it sounds a little too simple. But it really is that simple, that they're allowed to take that deduction that creates those payroll tax savings. And we use those savings to pay all the costs of the program and provide the benefits that we provide. So, I mean, that's a major hurdle. But once they kind of get that, I find that they're much more likely to move forward. Okay. So let's talk about onboarding a little bit. We generally handle onboarding. Your role is to kind of start the conversation, get them introduced to us, explain what the program's about. But and to help us get that payroll reports. Remember, we do need the census. So I can show you that real quick. Can you see the Excel sheet, or I might need to share it differently? Hold on. Okay. So with, when we get those payroll reports from them, we're getting a list of all of their employees, and we're looking at the different things that can contribute to withholdings. And what that allows us to do, so we'll see their gross wages are here, and then all of their withholdings. And so we're able to determine, we're able to estimate for each employee, will they have enough savings to pay for the program. And that's how we kind of generate the estimate, the pro forma for the client, is we're able to see for each employee, do they qualify for the SIMR? And if so, do they qualify? Do they have enough savings for the extra insurance benefits and things like that? Okay. So, I mean, it's, it looks like a lot, but most of this information can be exported with 1 or 2 reports from the payroll system. And we can always provide instructions on how to do that. Okay. But I mean, your role is to kind of get us the introduction, help us get that payroll report. And then once we have that, we'll do the final presentation, after which the employer will sign the master agreement. Okay. Once they've signed their agreement, we'll go in and we'll add the codes to the payroll system. Okay. And this will give us a definitive. So instead of the estimate, this will give us a definitive amount of how many employees are going to qualify. But we set up the employer by adding the codes to their payroll system. And then we begin. The first call is we're just explaining the benefits and how to enroll. So, employees will need to, get enrolled in the Amaze app. They will need to fill out some paperwork for their insurance benefits, and everything like that. So we explain their benefits and what to look for. Then the second call, we help them to get enrolled and actively using the apps. And then we also, give them a chance to answer questions. We want to make sure they're all informed. We also need to make sure that they're going to know what their paycheck will look like, because their paychecks will look different. Again, they're going to see some deductions. They're going to say, wait a minute, why am I having $500 deducted? So we need to be able to explain to them, yes, it's being deducted, but it's being added on at the end. So you're not losing money. You're actually getting some extra money. And then they often have questions about how this will impact other benefits, which it doesn't. So we want to make sure during the employee enrollment that they understand what to expect and that they're able actively using the benefits that we're giving them. Okay. Once it's launched, everything is done automatically. So the employer will run payroll as normal. The employees will have access to people that can provide ongoing support for the different benefits. So if they have their Allstate insurance benefits, they'll have a contact at Allstate that can help address those issues. So we make sure that they're informed about that. But once the program is launched, it's really a set it and forget it thing, unless there's employees that quit or are fired or are new employees that are hired. It's really after those first couple paychecks, they get it and they're using it and they're happy. And then it's just from there on out, it's savings earned, commissions earned every single month. Every time an employee is enrolled each month, you're getting that commission, and there the employer is getting those savings. Okay. What other aspects? Because I think we've covered the benefits and stuff in pretty extensively before. What other aspects of the program would you guys like me to cover?
I got a couple questions.
Sure.
Um, so what would keep an employee from not qualifying? Is it the amount of hours they work or what? What would keep them from not qualifying?
So yeah, I mean, it's really if they aren't earning enough to generate those payroll tax savings. So potentially, an employee could, sometimes they work variable hours. Let's say they work at a restaurant, and some hours they get 40 hours, some weeks they only get 10 hours or 20 hours. If they're variable as well, we might not enroll them because that could cause issues with them earning the savings. But it's really about just making sure that the employees are earning enough savings each month that all their costs are covered.
Okay, thank you. So when a employee looks at their pay stub, does everybody get a $500 deduction, or could it vary depending upon how much they're making?
It varies depending on it varies depending on what program they're enrolled in, and also how often if they only do a once monthly paycheck, that number will be higher. Basically they're spreading out the premium costs over the course of the month. So if they get a bi-weekly paycheck every 2 weeks or on the 15th and the 1st, those premium payments will be split in half between the paychecks. If they do a
Okay.
weekly paycheck, it'll be split in four. So it's based on the premiums for the program that they're enrolled in, and then it's also based on how often they receive their paychecks.
Okay, I get it now. And one last question. Can you just go over some of the main benefits? Let's just say an employee will qualify for everything. Can you just go over some of the main benefits that they will receive? Not all of them, but just a few of them.
Sure.
Because people are asking me that, and I think that's where I tripped up with my first client. So can you just kind of go over some of that?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, the main benefit is the 24/7 telehealth app. So it's from a company called Amaze Health, and you can go to amazehealth.com to learn more about it. But basically, they pull up the app, and they can just click the options to choose what service they want to use. And 24/7 they have access to medical providers like an MD or an NP. Um, and so they can do everything from urgent care. Maybe they have a toothache. Maybe they have a skin issue. Maybe they're tweak their back or they hurt their shoulder. They can do those urgent care, primary care as well. They can do some checkups, um, and have those, make sure that they're, doing their annual wellness. There's also behavioral health things. So if they want to, quit smoking, or if they want to lose weight, they could join support groups for that. There's mental health, so they can meet with a therapist. Um, And then the other benefit of this is the concierge. So if they, with their main insurance or, with other insurance that they might use, if, sometimes you go to the doctor and you're expecting, that you're only going to have to pay your $20 copay, but then a few weeks later you get a bill. The concierge can help you to work with your insurance and to work with the provider to advocate and make sure that you're being charged the right amount. So they kind of help you navigate all those kind of care things. If you need a specialist, they'll help you find a specialist that works with your insurance and help you to get that referral from your primary care if you need that. And then as a reminder, and it's covered up by this thing, everyone can use this. Their spouse, their children, the whole family can sign up for this app. Okay. And they can use this app every single day, however much they want to use it. Nothing that they do is going to cost any extra money. Okay. There's zero copay, zero deductible. Okay. So if they want to call, use a different service each day or whatever, everything is covered. So this is the main benefit that they're getting.
Okay. Perfect.
And,
Perfect.
yeah,
Perfect. That's what I needed to see. Thank you
yeah,
very much.
sure. Yeah, and then just to cover the other ones real quickly, if they do not have primary health insurance, so if their employer doesn't offer insurance, or if their spouse does not get insurance, they will get a free insurance or not a free, but they will get what's called a minimum essential coverage. So it's a low cost insurance policy that covers their basic healthcare needs, their annual checkups, their in-person stuff. Okay. And then some employees, if they have enough savings, they can qualify for like a whole life, an accident, or a critical illness. So these are, those insurance policies that just add a little extra for a low cost. And they're offered at group rates. So, I mean, those are the three main benefits, is, the healthcare app, the primary insurance if they need it, and then the additional, insurance benefits if they qualify.
Perfect.
Okay. And so, yeah, so I know some of you have, made some introductions to employers. And yeah, I just remind you that, those first few steps. So you want to make an introduction, get them on a call. And then, yeah, I'll work closely with you. We want to make sure that we're getting that payroll report and staying on top of the employer. It's just like sales with anything else. You want to stay top of mind. You want to keep the motivation up, keep the momentum going. Once we get that payroll report, it's really a much easier go from there, because that's the big hurdle, is getting that payroll report. And then once we get the payroll report, we'll get them scheduled for their pro forma presentation, and then we'll get that master agreement signed. But we need your help through those first initial steps. So make sure that you're working closely with me. The one benefit that you guys especially can help with is kind of figuring out, try and gently get them to kind of talk about what maybe their hesitations are, what their objections are. Often they might not understand the program all the way. They might not think it's legitimate, something they can rely on, or they might just be a procrastinator. So try and figure out what their objections are and keep me in the loop, and we can work on that together to move the deal forward. Sometimes these deals do take a lot of time, but what I will say, the last thing I'll share is I do think that the economy is picking up. I'm seeing a lot more activity in terms of more sales calls, more interest, much less hesitation. I think, with the election and the economy last year, everyone just put everything on hold, and they were sitting still and they were just waiting to see what happened. I think people now they feel a little more, they feel like like it's time to start taking steps and doing something. So I'm seeing a lot more activity generally with employers and with the economy. And then with this program specifically, I know each and every day I'm finding out about more and more companies that are offering and promoting this type of program. And well, of course, competition isn't great. The one benefit to that, and I've seen this with other programs in the past, is once this starts to really kind of once employer people start hearing about this, they're much more likely to be like, okay, I've heard about that. Tell me about it. I want to learn more. I don't know if you guys remember ERC, the COVID tax credit program. Initially, it was really hard to get employers to have interest in it, but eventually that thing was everywhere. It was on the radio, it was on podcasts, it was on social media, LinkedIn, everything. And once it was everywhere, people were like, you'd pick up the phone and you're the guy that they have on the phone right now. And if you caught them at a good time, it's like, hey, tell me about it. Let's move it forward. And it just makes it so much easier. So I would say, try and be active with this and that way and get your head around it. And once this thing really starts picking up steam, you'll be really confident and you'll be already running. You're not going to have a ramp up. You'll already be ready to go, and you'll be the one that it'll start to move fast. So with that, I mean, if anybody has any questions, or if not, I can turn that back to Mo.
All right. I got a question. Another question that came up yesterday actually is, can we give some testimonials, maybe some references? Is that allowed?
Yes, I can check and see what we have, see if we can get some. I know that we do have some I know that we do have some testimonials. In terms of references, generally they don't disclose like clients and prospects, just because we don't want other companies to be calling them and say, hey, we can get you a better deal. But we do have testimonials, and I mean, we wouldn't want one of our clients to be getting calls from people asking about the simmer. That might just make them a little uncomfortable.
Yeah,
But I can definitely get some testimonials.
I definitely 100% agree with that. And I actually said that to the guy yesterday. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's allowable. I don't think that's really a good thing to do, but
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody else on this call? This was good information.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, my question was, like, on the 24/7 app, if they do need to go see someone in person, do they direct them to someone? You may have said this, but I may have missed it. Do they then direct them to someone that's low cost for them, or they just use their regular insurance?
So if it's an urgent care thing, if it's an emergency, they would probably encourage them to go to like an urgent care facility. If it's more of like a primary care thing or something, they can use the concierge to help them find a provider that's works with their insurance and would be a good cost for them.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jordan.
If so you kind of said it earlier, but if somebody else is already set up through another company, we can offer to kind of like replace that if it's a better option for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they can switch over to us, no problem.
Why? Let's talk about that. Okay, so why would they switch over to us? It would be the same thing, right? What would be the benefit for them switching to us?
So we do have, the other program, the Hospital Indemnity Plan 1. So if they're just on the regular simmer, especially if they're a bigger organization, the Hospital Indemnity Plan offers It's bundled with a group indemnity insurance, which, if you're not familiar with what a fixed indemnity insurance is, basically, if when you go to the hospital, even if you have insurance, if you have to take an ambulance or something like that, you're going to be assessed like a cash fee, like a copay. And so the group hospital indemnity insurance gives you a cash payout to help you cover those costs. So if you have to take an ambulance, they'll give you a $500 cash payout, based on, or, the payout depending on what your policy is. If you're in the hospital, so that'll help you to cover some of your copays, right? The other benefit to this plan is this one is more automated. So especially if they're a larger organization, we're going to connect directly with their they're going to connect directly between their payroll team and our administrator, and basically each month they're going to upload a report, and we're going to make those adjustments automatically for them. So it's real easy to do. Okay. So, you get the additional fixed indemnity insurance. It's going to be the more automated program. And the other benefit is a lot of the providers that are doing this, they may be a mom and pop shop. They may be an accounting firm that doesn't specialize in this. And so when that happens, they can make mistakes, or they might not just provide the level of service that they'll get with us, because we're with Encompassing Health, which is it's part of the Capital Group of companies, which is one of the largest benefits administrator in the United States. They've been around for 100 years. They have, across their portfolio of companies, they have $2.6 trillion in assets under management. So, I mean, if they want to work, if they're working with a mom and pop, or they're not happy with the level of service, our company is going to provide the highest level of service that's available. And so they definitely could be, especially if they didn't roll it right, if they did not. So again, like when those employees are seeing their paychecks, if it wasn't explained to them what to expect, all of a sudden the boss or the HR guy is going to start having people coming into his office, and that could leave a bad taste in his mouth. So if they're not doing the education right. So I do think we offer a higher level of service, and then they can take advantage of the higher level program if they're a larger company as well.
Any other questions? All right.
I do.
Go
Um,
ahead, Eva.
doesn't the app have geofencing? Doesn't it offer geofencing to direct them to the nearest location in the event of an emergency where they need urgent care or anything like that?
Yeah, they definitely do have geofencing. I have to look into how exactly that works, but yes, I know. Yeah. So, that would help them to kind of, basically what that means is, wherever they are, they're going to be directed to providers and services that are, within their area. So yeah, the geofencing is definitely a core feature there. Yeah. If you're in Texas or you're in Florida, you're not going to get a provider who's out in Wisconsin or something like that. So yeah, I mean, the geofencing, that's true. That may work for urgent care. I'd have to double check.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Eric, what about high turnover companies? Is this good for them?
So with the high turnover companies, we would probably want to put them on the hospital indemnity plan, which is similar. It still offers the 24/7 app. I'm not sure where that slide is, but this one, again, it's automated. So they're not going to have to notify us every time an employee leaves or goes on vacation. How this one works is basically every time they're going to run payroll, their payroll or their HR team, they download a report, or they upload their system to the Encompassing Health system, the Encompassing Health will use AI in their own calculators and will spit out instructions that they upload back into their payroll system. Takes about 15 minutes, and most of that's just loading time. So it's pretty quick, it's seamless, and that will do all the adjustments automatically. So if they have a high turnover, they're not going to have to worry about spending hours each month or each paycheck making changes. It's a 15-minute automated process.
Good deal. Okay. Any other questions? This is good stuff. I hope that, everybody's trying to retain as much of this as possible if you're serious about moving this workplace wellness along. Okay, so, right.
Yeah, one thing I always like to remind people of too is, remember, this is not an insurance policy, and it does not interfere with, or it doesn't have any conflicts with any insurance policy that they already provide. So that's a big question that we get, and just try to remind, it's not an insurance policy. It's an entirely separate supplemental benefit for their employees.
Excellent.
Will the slides be in Discord by chance, Eric?
Yes, I can make those available.
Super, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you all. Okay. All right. Thank you, Eric. Now I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is for tomorrow, for our training for tomorrow. Just take 1 second to share this, guys. It's not always physical. See, there's pain of betrayal in relationships. There's the sting of failure in business, the disappointment of dreams that's been deferred. How about the ache of being overlooked, underestimated, and misunderstood? Emotional pain is a real thing. It lingers and it changes you. See, you've been hit hard. You've been hit hard. Maybe it wasn't just once, but it's probably been blow after blow after blow. You've gave your all, and it seems like life is just hitting you back. And now look at you. You're limping, not just in body, but in spirit. But listen, hear me out. You're still moving. See, success doesn't always look like a sprint. No, it sometimes looks like a limp. But forward is still forward. And pain is proof that you're still alive. You're still in the fight. You're still in the game. See, everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. You may be bruised, but you're not broken. You may be wounded, but you're not worthless. Your limp is a badge of honor. It means that you survived the very thing that was trying to destroy you. You owe you. You have to keep going. You have to keep grinding. You've got to keep pushing through even if you're crawling. See, this is your moment to rise. Not perfect, not pain-free, but powerful. Because the ones who changed the world aren't the ones who never got hurt. They're the ones who kept going and never quit. Join me on this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Walking with the Limp. Keep it moving. Let's talk about how to push past pain, how to turn wounds into wisdom, and how to keep going even when everything in you wants to quit. Because even with the limp, you still have purpose. Walking with the Limp. Keep it moving. This Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't quit. Show up. Keep walking. Wings up. This is your guy, Mo. G2 Global Network. All right. With that being said,
I love it.
all right, excellent. Hopefully to see all of you all on the training tomorrow. for this call. Share it and invite some people out tomorrow. Okay, invite some people out to kind of take a look at your network and let them see what we do on our Thursdays and Fridays call. Listen, Eric, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing this information with us. I learned a lot today, trust me. And you know, it's these little things like this that you're sharing with us that's going to empower us down the line as we start making ourselves. So thank you for your time once again. Thank you for your knowledge. And thank you for being a part of our G2 Global Network. With that being said, I'll see each and every one of you all at the top, and I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Mo, this Yolanda. Were you able to get that information for me?